So Marvel's Eternals, their next big franchise. Question mark? I mean, it's been a week. And now Marvel Studios producer is saying sequels aren't guaranteed. Oh boy. For the first time since the start of the MCU finds itself in the DCEU's position where it's the punching bag of all the low-score memes you can handle. Trust me, I've been sharing all of them. They're hilarious. See, even as an MCU fan, I can still share funny MCU memes over on our Facebook page and laugh. And people are taking them way too seriously. They're just memes, it's okay. They're not going to define the future of the MCU, but you know what might define the future of the Eternals MCU? This film's performance in box office and the reviews, because, well, I mean, the box office numbers have slightly gone down, but the score, oh boy, it was rotten a couple times there, and it keeps bumping itself up just barely to passable at 60, but we'll find out what happens soon. Now, what exactly is the plan for the future of the Eternals when it comes directly from the source itself, from Marvel Studios, from the producer of the film? Well, the film's producer, Nate Moore, he has some bad news. And he says, look, if you watch Eternals, you can enjoy the Eternals. They are there. Their story is there. But beyond that, they don't know right now. They have to see what happens next. Because he says, with everything going on in this film, they have to explore what is there to do next, and is there enough for us to play with? And what is there to tell with these characters that could be the next chapter for characters that are alone, such as Black Knight, for example, or characters that are part of the Eternals or a team of Eternals, or do they add new characters, or what happens next, right? That's sort of the idea. And he says that this is currently what they're thinking about. And in terms of exploring the future, he says that if you look at some of the other franchises out there, sequels make sense. But when it comes to the future of the Eternals, he said, and I quote, "It's not something that is a must-have," referencing sequels. So obviously it's one step at a time, right? If Eternals goes on and makes like $600 million, I mean, a sequel is going to happen. But if it makes like 350 max, and the reviews are bad, suddenly, why would you want a sequel, right? And I think this is going to be one of those things that's a part of the discussion. And also, what do you do then? Because you could bring some of these characters in to crossovers. The Marvels 2 or Captain Marvel 3 or whatever they end up calling it, right? You could toss a couple of Eternals in there and explore that story. Or put some of them in another series, or do something along those lines. And Black Knight can hold his own as a series, or maybe even a film. So I think there's plenty here. And honestly, them already saying this in a public manner, and him specifically telling the Toronto Sun that sequels don't need to exist, I think honestly that they're looking at the realistic possibility that if this film isn't well received by box office as well, because the critics certainly aren't all there, this could be a one and done, and that's huge. Like, that is something I don't think many people saw coming. Now, of course, beyond just having sequels, I think there's a bigger picture here for the Eternals brand itself. And do people even want it? And, you know, I recently said I was going to go and read some of the old Eternals, and I tried, and I just could not get into the Jack Kirby stuff that people praise. Honestly, I put it down. I found it almost suffering to read through it. But the Neil Gaiman stuff and the more recent stuff has been better. So I think this could be the same type of scenario. Maybe a sequel, if you can get it more streamlined and more of what people want, maybe that could work out for the best. But if they're already saying, hey, it could be a one and done, I think Eternals fans, 5 of you and Mitch, better get ready, because this could be the only one you get.